All right, guys, what is up? I wanted to do a new course for you guys, and it's something that several of you have been asking, and I think it'll be a good course for you if you look to do this in the future as well. But this course I'm going to talk about is print on demand, or POD. You may hear that acronym being thrown around. You know, how do I do POD, POD stores, in different slang terms like that. But that's what it means, print on demand, where you have someone, you create the design, you create the artwork, but then you have a third party actually make the product and actually ship the product out. So that's what a print on demand company does. And there's a lot more print on demand companies now than there used to be. So you have to figure out, is this something that you want to add to your business? Even if you sell your own you make and sell your own products, you may see the benefit of doing some print on demand stuff, because it is more passive. Once you get the design created, then you can list it and pretty much forget it. If it sells, you're not going to have to make it. And if you have a good print on demand company, you're really not going to have to worry about fulfilling that, and it being sent out or anything like that. So that's what's nice about it. That's also what kind of brings people in to want to do print on demand. And I think there's a little bit of a misconception where you can just set up a print on demand store and make a bunch of money and be sipping mai tais on the beach somewhere. But it doesn't necessarily work that way, and it's not going to be super profitable, especially at the beginning. But one of the things with print on demand you have to consider is your margins are going to be small, just by the nature of the design of print on demand. You're paying someone else to create the products for you. You're not doing it yourself. So it's going to eat into your margins a lot more than if you did it yourself. All right, so where you have to start first when you're considering print on demand is who's going to do it for you. Who's going to be the company that you're going to partner with? So there's a lot of print on demand companies out there now, and you can do your own research on this. I'm not going to go into every single company. The company that I use and that I like is Printful. So printful.com. They're pretty good. The fulfillment's pretty fast. The company's pretty legit, and I haven't had any problems with them shipping stuff, with the integration with Etsy or any of that. So I would check into them, but there may be other companies out there that are better. Just do your own research and see which one's going to be a good fit for you. Maybe you have a local company that you want to partner with, and maybe they'll do your print on demand stuff too, and you're probably going to have better margins by doing a local company like that too. So that may be something to consider as well. But I like Printful because they are pretty good and they have a lot of products to choose from. So that's kind of step number one, is which company you're going to partner with, and then you have to go in and set up an account. Uh, Hopefully by that time you already know kind of what you want to sell. So Printful does pretty much anything you'd want to do, whether it's clothing, art, mugs, stickers, all kinds of stuff that they do. I can hop in here really fast and kind of show you. All right, so we're in Printful, and you can see these are the men's clothing that they offer, all kinds of stuff, t-shirts, tank tops, long sleeves, hoodies, women's clothing, all bunch of stuff there, leggings, skirts, crop tops, and they have kids clothing. Then they have hats, all kinds of different hats where you can get stuff embroidered, which is pretty neat. Accessories, so they have tote bags, laptop cases, necklaces, earrings, socks, face masks, iPhone cases, all kinds of different stuff there. And they're always adding new stuff too. And then home and living, blankets, stickers, pillows, wall art, frame posters, towels, bean bags. And then, well, this is by collections. They have it sorted by collections. So I would encourage you to go on here. You should already have an idea of what you want to sell or what you're thinking about selling, but maybe you want to expand that, and go in here and figure out, I want to do wall art and I really like to do stickers too. So you may want to expand out. I would pick just one thing to start so you get your feet wet, and then maybe you want to grow into some different stuff. So set up an account, figure out actually what you want to sell. And then from there, it's just creating the listings and the mock-ups. So this may change. These websites do change frequently, But I'll give you a quick run through of how to do that here, and just note that there may be subtle differences depending on when you're viewing this as far as how it looks to you and on your end. But Printful has tutorials, walkthroughs, and FAQ sections, so you guys can figure it out if something is slightly different. So the main thing, you have to set up an account, and then you have to link your shop. You have to link your Etsy shop to Printful. So then from there, when you create your mock-ups and your listing, then you publish it to your Etsy shop, and it's going to go to your Etsy shop as a draft. And then you're going to bounce over to your Etsy shop, edit the listing, and then publish it. But the reason they do it like that is so it's linked through Printful through Etsy. So when something sells through Etsy, Printful gets that notification. They automatically start working on fulfilling the order, and then they ship the order out when it's done. So that's what's really cool about it. Once you have it set up, it is 100% passive. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to touch it or anything like that. Now, your listing still will expire, and you have to keep an eye out, especially if you're watching this during COVID, Printful, and I'm sure a lot of companies, their shipping times have really inflated because it's harder to get certain stock of stuff. So you have to pay attention to how fast stuff ships, because you want to make sure to set the right expectations when it comes to your Etsy listings and your processing times. Because that's a mistake if you just set it and forget it, and you have your processing times of 1 to 3 days with Etsy, and it takes these guys 1 to 3 weeks to fulfill your order. Because of something going on with supply chain issues, people are going to be pretty upset. So you got to make sure to set the right expectations and just keep an eye out with the shipping times. So when you pick a product, so what you can do is go into your shop, and I'll go walk through this so you can see it, and I'll talk about some other best practices and things to consider when you're setting up your listings and setting up stuff in here. Once you get your Printful account set up, you're going to go to the dashboard, and then you're going to see your stores here to the left. And if you don't have a store connected, you have to go through here, and it's a couple of clicks, pretty easy to link your Etsy store. I already have mine set up, so it's up here. I'm just going to click Add Product. And then you're just going to pick which item you want to create a mock-up on. This, granted, you're going to have your design already done. You can't really create your design in here unless it's something super simple, but you should have a design already created to upload. So I'm just going to do home and living, and then I'm just going to do a poster, and I'm just going to select this poster. And it will tell you, if you go back, let me go back here. It'll tell you the average shipping times. So average delivery in 7 days. So that's one thing that you want to check. All these products have the average delivery, so you can make sure your processing times are accurate on the Etsy side. So make sure you're checking into that as well. So we want to click on that. And then what you want to do is you want to go to your design. I'm just going to do text just for simplicity's sake. But this is where you would upload your design if you're selling art or if you're whatever you're selling. And then when we scroll down here, you can select, when you go over your product, you can select which options. So whether it's colors or styles. Here for it's different, it's art, so it's different. It's a poster, so it's different sizes. So I'm just going to leave all these selected. And then you can select your orientation. So depending on what you choose here, there's different features of how to do it. And then I'm going to proceed to mockups. So it's automatically going to give you mockups depending on, again, what you're selling. You can select, it's going to do a mockup for every style and size. And then it will do other mockups here. It's not displaying for me now, but there will be some, I think they call it like lifestyle mockups, or here's lifestyle mockups. So usually if you have a poster, it'll show it on a wall, and you can choose those mockups as well. They generate for you free. So go through here and see which mockups you want. I don't know why it's not doing it for me, but that's fine. And then mockup format, JPEG is fine. Proceed to details. So this is where your Etsy listing comes into play. You can do your title and your description here if you want, your tags if you want. and then that will transmit over to Etsy as a draft listing. I don't usually do that. I like to do it within Etsy, but whatever you figure out is easier for you to do. So you can fill that out here or not fill it out. Either way, it's going to transmit over to Etsy as a draft. And then you're going to load the draft, clean it up, and go from there and list it. So we're going to proceed to pricing. So here's where it gets a little tricky, because you got to make sure you're setting your pricing according to what it costs and what it costs to make, and to make a little bit extra money is what I'm trying to say. So you want to set your pricing not too low, because if you set it too low, but when it comes to shipping and Etsy fees, you're going to lose money. So you have to know what it costs to ship the item and what it costs as far as your fees go. So every product, if you go into Printful, every product has the shipping cost in it. So I can jump back to that and show you really fast. All right, so if you go into the products, I'm just going to pick a random product here. I'm just going to go to shirts, and then we're going to scroll down and look at shipping. So right here, we know what shipping is going to cost if we want to do USA or other countries. So $3.99 to ship this, and then additional products are $125. So you can make sure that you're setting the correct pricing, or if you're charging for shipping, make sure you're charging enough as far as shipping goes when you're setting it up in your Etsy store. So you have to know what shipping costs are. Let me go to, since I am doing that canvas art, I want to figure out what it costs to ship that. So then when we go to prices, we'll know what it costs. All right, so this is $4.99 to ship. So that's going to impact my pricing. So let's go back to the pricing now. So you see that the Printful price, this is just the price to create it. So it's $8 just for this size. And then right here, the retail price is $11. Well, you know that that's not enough money because that's not going to cover shipping. So you have to raise the cost of this to account for shipping and fees. And Etsy fees. So really an easy way to do this is, if you guys, I'm a big fan of Alora, and they do have free resources on their website, and they have an Etsy calculator, which is really cool for this example, that you can use this free Etsy fee calculator so you kind of know where to set your prices. So the Printful price is $8 plus $4.99 in shipping, and that doesn't include any fees. So right there, we're at $12.99, or I'm sorry, $13.99. Yeah, $13.99 as far as total costs, but it doesn't include fees. So we have to account by that for that as well. So if we go to Laura's Etsy fee calculator, we can do, so we know it's going to cost $13.99. That includes shipping. You want to include shipping in your selling price, whether you're charging for it or not, charging the customer for it or not, it's still a cost. So this selling price would include the shipping price as well. Or I'm sorry, the cost would include the shipping prices as well. So we're going to put $13.99 in the cost, and then selling price. This is where we can figure out what we want to sell it for. So let's say we want to sell it for $15, and we're going to turn off offsite ads. We're not going to run offsite ads on this. So let's figure, you hit calculate. It'll tell you if I'm selling this for $15 and the cost is $13.99, I'm going to lose money. I'm going to lose 64 cents when it comes to the fees. So I want to raise the price. So let's raise the price to $18. And then I'll make $2.12 profit. So you see how profit margin plays into this when you're doing print on demand, because it's real easy to lose money if you don't set up your fee, or you don't set up your costs correctly and figure that out correctly. That's why this Etsy fee calculator is really nice for circumstances like this, so you can figure it out. And you can't charge, you want to look at your market. You don't want to charge too much money. You don't want to get greedy, because people just aren't going to pay that. If you're selling shirts and you're setting your shirt cost at $40 so you can make a nice profit, people aren't going to buy it. It's just too expensive. So you have to consider that as well. So you can make money, but you have to, you see how you have to sell more things because your profit margin is going to be less because you are paying the print on demand company. But it is saving you a lot of time. You're not having to package that stuff. You're not having to pay for packing materials. You're not having to create the product. You just create the product once, and then you just have to try and sell the product then. So that's what we would put here is we would put $15, and this gives us the product, but this gives us the profit here, but it doesn't include the shipping costs, which it probably should, but I guess it doesn't know what you're selling. So that's where you have to be careful, because if you don't realize that, if you want to lower it here, you're like, oh, I'm at $13, I'm going to make money. Well, you're not. You're going to lose money when it comes to the item being shipped. So depending on which styles and variations you have, this is where you would go through and set your prices accordingly. And then you can submit it to your store. So when I hit submit, it's going to go over to my store as a draft listing. And I'll show you that as well. All right, so I'm over in my store, and I'm going to go to the drafts, and you see, boom, it's there as a draft, which is really neat. It has everything there. If I choose my mockups, it's going to have the mockup pictures already in there. I can choose to delete them or add other pictures, or maybe like a size chart or something, depending on what you're selling. And then this is where you go through just like normal, and you do your title if you didn't already do it. You do your category, which it already has the category in here correct, which is awesome. So you don't even have to do that. Any subject matter, you want to make sure to fill this stuff out. Orientation, anything that applies to whatever you're selling will give you these extra things, features to fill out. So make sure to fill out everything that applies to your item, because it will help people filter it out correctly. Holiday, occasion, and then your description. You want to go through and make sure your description is good. And then their production partner, you want to go ahead and check that to let people know that you have a production partner that's actually going to fulfill the item for you. When you go through and set up your integration, originally with Printful, it'll add the production partner to your Etsy, because you have to approve the integration, and then you just have to make sure it's selected when it comes to your listings, because you can do both listings. You can do print on demand listings and regular listings in your same shop. So that's why they make you select it. So it's a good if you want to have a hybrid shop doing both, which can be a nice way to do things. Your tags, materials, and then down here it'll import your pricing. And it does put your SKU in here. So you just want to make sure this is all right. It should import it correctly depending on what you did on the front side. So that's why it's good to fill out the front side correctly, do all that pricing stuff on the front, figure out what you need to do, and then it just imports over, and then you don't have to worry about it at all when it comes over here. And then just set up your shipping. So it does automatically put the shipping costs in here as far as charging the customer, but you have to keep in mind you may not want to charge the customer for shipping. So that's why it's good to fill it out on the front. If you're just going to stick with Printful shipping, then you don't have to worry about that impacting your profit margins like I was talking about on the front side. But if you're doing free shipping, or you're just working shipping into the cost of the item and doing free shipping, or you want to do less shipping, this is where you would need to edit that and decide what you're going to do as far as shipping goes. So figure out what you're going to do on the front side, make sure it's working into your costs so you're charging enough to make money. If you just want to let it Printful do it and charge what they're going to charge, then that's fine. You don't have to worry about it, and your profit is going to be pretty easy. Then you can use that chart, the profit chart, over in Printful, and it's going to be correct if you're not including shipping at all. But I just wanted to go through the calculator so you guys know that you can use it depending on if you're just planning on doing free shipping or whatnot, to figure out your costs. And then that's pretty much it. You go through here and you select publish. And then once it's on your Etsy shop, you just have to worry about renewing it if it's not set up to auto renew. And then you have to make sure to check in with the processing times in Printful just to make sure that they didn't change the processing times to a week or 2 weeks, and your processing time set to 1 to 3 days, because you want to set the right expectations. But when an item sells with Printful, at least, you'll get an email that it sells. You don't have to do anything. Printful will fulfill the item. You'll get a notification when it ships. The customer will get it, and end of story. That's pretty much it. There is a return address. If they do want to return the item, they have to send it to the return address for Printful. They wouldn't send it to you. It has to go to Printful, but you have to look and see Printful's return policies as far as the costs of returns. A lot of times I think you'll have to eat some of that cost when a customer returns an item. So that's another thing to consider with print on demand. Returns can be costly, but the chances that you're going to have a lot of returns is probably going to be slim. So it's probably not a big worry, but you still want to make sure to have all your ducks in a row when it comes to returns, just to make sure you know what to expect when it comes to that. So check into that. But that's pretty much it as far as print on demand. The main thing is just your fees and the costs, and getting stuff out there. The more stuff you have with print on demand, the better, just because, like I said, your profit margins are going to be a little bit smaller. So you just have to sell more stuff to make more of a profit margin. And I would encourage you to stick with your niche. Don't just try to do everything just because you can. Stick with your brand, your niche. Stay true to that, and where it makes sense, because I think a lot of people start to do print on demand. They just start throwing random designs up all across the board, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. And it's hard to find success that way. You're better off finding a niche, sticking within that niche, because Etsy's algorithm will know that's what your specialty is. It'll start sending more and more traffic to your shop over time, because they're going to know you're specializing in that niche. That's what you're all about. That's what your shop's all about. Also, it'll help you stay interested if you're doing something that you're excited about, that you're passionate about, that's your hobby, that's your interest. So pick something that you can stay excited about, and be happy about, and continue to work at it and grow at it. And over time, it will take a little bit of time to grow this. It's not going to be instant, but this is a good way to make extra money on top of what you may already be doing in your Etsy shop, if you want to research and start adding print on demand stuff to your business.